Everybody loves multi-res.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're buying for a 3.5 cap, can you afford our rates? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Industrial, though, has really taken off, and Toronto for the longest time confounded me because the average rental rate in Vancouver for industrial is probably $11. It's probably 10 in Edmonton, 9 in Calgary, 7.5 in Halifax, and it was like 6.5 in Toronto, and you just can't figure it out. Maybe because there's an inventory of older buildings, sure, but that still doesn't really explain it. And then the vacancy rate went from 6 to 4, and then the vacancy rate went down to 1.5, which is where it is today, and now lease rates are taking off. So it's an area that we really like. There's not going to be a big supply coming on stream. I mean, Toronto has something like 40% of all the industrial space in Canada. It's almost 800 million square feet. So you cannot add space quickly enough to create suddenly this vacancy issue. So it's an area we love. We'll lend on industrial land for the right developer, and we'll lend second mortgages on industrial. We can't get enough of it.
To hear, because I know, Rob, you lend to a lot of developers, and so I'd be really interested to hear your sort of view on the Toronto housing market and compare and contrast to Nick's.
Yeah, well, there's no question. B20 has had an impact across the country, and that flows through to the developers because basically mortgages are now 20% less in amount than they used to be. So we're focused on affordability, and when we lend to developers, we're looking at the end price and trying to make sense of it and trying to determine in our minds whether there's a good, strong market for that. I would say in the last 12 months, we were much more interested in mid-rise and high-rise because we saw, just as Nick mentioned, prices going crazy in 905 for single family, and we sensibly, as it turned out, didn't lend much there and focused on mid-rise and high-rise. Mid-rise and high-rise in 416 has gone up a lot, while single family in towns in 905 has gone down. I'm still not too sure about single family, new single family, but I think new towns and semi-detached are starting to make sense now because there's not a whole lot of difference between their price and a condo price. Having said that, it's a bit comparing apples with oranges because the condos are in 416 mostly, and the townhouses and semi-detached are in 905. But there's no question the gap between the two has closed, and there's no question that there have been recently some very successful low-rise launches of towns, and including one in Oshawa, which really surprised us.